So we have this lawyer. His name is Donald Kipkorir. I don't know if you know him.
Not personally.
So Donald does some of these things that, like as a lawyer, I respect him, but some of the shit he does, and they're like, this is too much. So he done this thing now, and I need your views as an American, and just be honest.
Okay, cool.
So this is a Kenyan celebrating when the elections were happening. So he decided to hold this event for his friends, and they just stayed down with American flags and all that shit. And I'm there like, nah, don't do that. I feel like it's
Why is he doing this?
Just some shit.
Does
like,
he have a dog in this fight? Like
No. So this is what he'd
Don't do
written.
that.
He said, before the final results in US elections were announced, I invited my friends to come celebrate the imminent victory of President Donald Trump. We had a blast. Today, it's the official inauguration of President Donald Trump. His presidency will usher in the golden age for US and the world. Trump will enter into rapprochement with China, Russia, and Iran. He'll usher peace in the Middle East and finally give Palestinians their own state. Trump has once, in historical epoch, to re-engineer the world and earn a place alongside Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, etc. So that's the shit that he wrote. So it gets weird, and like this is.
it gets weirder than that.
Yeah, it gets weirder than that. But what do you feel about this?
I feel like it's another example of like sort of just trying to be close to power. And it's hard for me to imagine that is a genuine belief that Trump is somehow in the ranks of Genghis Khan and is somehow going to bring in a golden age. I mean, he's a game show host who's a realtor. He buys and sells buildings in New York.
Okay.
That's his background. He's not a warrior. He's not any of these other things that he's attributing to him, or a major change maker. He's popular.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is going on. Even with Elon or like Zuckerberg, it's like they're all moving towards power or moving towards popularity.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter who is popular. They're going to move that direction either way. But maybe he has some ideological similarities that make him more attracted to Trump. But this seems ridiculous.
Okay.
Like, what's in it for him except for maybe he wants to be in the good graces of the rich and powerful?
But now Trump, I don't think Trump knows you. You understand?
Right.
Like
But they share the name.
Trump is a dollar
Yeah.
billionaire.
That's
You're a
what-
shilling billionaire.
That's one $1 to the other.
Yeah.
They're both Donalds.
I mean,
No, yeah,
maybe
yeah,
they have
yeah.
loose
Okay.
connections through someone, and all it takes is for someone to tell Trump, "Oh, he's a big fan," and Trump loves anyone who's a fan.
Okay.
So maybe there's a future business deal or something, or maybe with the new ambassador, he'll get invited to a party or something like that as a big supporter. Because Trump is really big on sycophants.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
And the whole flags thing, because I'm also like, nah, man, don't do this. I know you have the money.
Did you get those at China
have
Square?
the
Like, where did he
space.
get? Where did he get so many flags?
I don't know. And you can see the deco. Like they had to print the Trump poster, the Kamala thing, and just I feel like this was too much.
I find it strange when people are more obsessed with success than they are with integrity, because you can clearly see that Trump's integrity is of the lowest of anyone we've ever had. I mean, he does a lot of calculated bad things, and that's not something that attracts me. Like when I talk to friends of mine who are fans of Trump, I'm always like, when you think of adult men in your life growing up that was a good mentor or someone you looked up to, did that person have any of the characteristics of Trump? Because all that we're seeing with Trump is success.
Yeah.
And somehow that blinds people to actual qualities that we care about. I mean, would you want him for your dad?
Yeah, he's a billionaire. Yeah. You understand? Like,
Like success is somehow more important
Yes.
than all the rest of the attributes that we usually look up to people in.
so there is that, but now there's something he said that was super interesting. So this is what Donald wrote.
Which one?
The Kenyan one.
All right, because Donald Trump doesn't write, of course. Yeah.
So the Kenyan one, and this is what I'm saying. Like I didn't even know how to take this. So he wrote, in the morning I tweeted that President Donald Trump will usher U.S. golden age. Several hours later, after his inauguration, the new X page was opened for President Donald Trump, and it states that it's the beginning of the golden age. White House must have copied from me. show me where else the phrase was
no.
used before my tweet. And I was like, shit, man,
no.
stop it, Donald, stop it.
Oh no.
Like, shit, man, don't do that.
Yeah, that's frightening.
Yeah.
That's a lack of awareness.
I don't know, man.
Beyond-
Like this is one of the top lawyers in Kenya.
That's
like,
obsession.
like if I was to commit a crime and I needed someone to save me, or I was accused of some shit that I've not done, this would be one of the first guys I'd call.
Better
This is
call
a brilliant lawyer.
Yeah.
And then you separate the law from this other side where it's just like, what the hell are you talking about?
There's this thing that happens to people when they actually do become experts in a particular field, like where they're really, really good at something, where they start to believe that they're good at all things. That success in that one area bleeds over, like Elon, like just thinking he can be all of these things.
Yeah.
But even in a small scale, like when someone gets really good at something, and when they get money, people start asking them questions as if that knowledge somehow applies to other areas of life. So he can be a great lawyer and terrible at assessing politics. Like, don't you think? Like, you've got gaps where, like, areas in your life where you're like, I got this. I'm a top of my field here. But someone then comes and asks you about oceanography. You should be able to say, I don't know at all. I don't know about fish.
Yeah.
But these guys, it's like, oh no, I'm smart.
Yeah. What's the probability of getting a bunch of white people with a lot of Kenyan flags in America?
The
Celebrating some
probability,
Kenyan-
let's do the math. It's very low. It's very, very low.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And then a few things still that I wanted to understand. Where's the southern border? That's the one that's bordering you and Mexico?
Yeah, on the Rio Grande River mostly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Trump declared it a national emergency.
And he's sending military, yeah?
Yeah. He's sending the military there. So it was part of his, I think, the remaining.
This has all
Mexico.
happened in the last 24 hours.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That was
So,
straight after inauguration. We're not, and he's already signed all those stuff.
yeah, he was signing them.
Yeah. And also something else, painting Mars in.
Oh yeah, they wanted to put American flag on Mars.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
exciting.
there's
That's-
that. Yeah.
I think
That- I
that's
think
Donald. I think that's
interesting.
Donald's idea now.
I was being sarcastic. It's a terrible. Like, why is that an
No, I think
initiative?
for science, some scientific advancements that I can praise. But the most ridiculous shit I had was America will have the ERS. The ERS is the External Revenue Service.
Yeah.
So instead of Americans paying taxes, apparently we other countries will pay taxes to America. And I was there like, this is some bullshit. Like, how is that supposed to work? Maybe you understood it better than me.
No, I don't understand Trump any more than anyone else does. Honestly,
The ERS.
that's why I
it's
kind of
time
like.
to
That's why I
fight.
really like living in Kenya because like we certainly have legitimate political issues,
Yeah.
but it's sort of like the people versus the establishment. Whereas in America, it's people versus people. It's so divided, like they hate each other, and I think that's harder to live amongst than what we're dealing with here.
Okay. But one thing I totally agreed with him is bring back free speech. Do you feel like that's good? I know America has a very racist history, but one of the things that goes personally, I learned so much about America through hip hop music, yes. And a lot of the things that I used to listen to, I was like, as a Kenyan, I was like, damn, they can say that, you know. So for him to say bring back free speech, I felt like that's a good one.
But where did it go? Did you notice it being stifled?
I felt like there was a
anyway?
lot of cancellation where they'd look for some shit you said 10 years back,
Right.
and then you'd be cancelled for it. And I used to feel like, nah, I know.
Yeah, I never got the feeling that the cancellation actually happened. I mean, because like people would get angry and say, "Oh, you're canceled," but then all those people are still thriving. Like, it didn't really.
We kicked Louis C.K. off TV. I think Louis C.K. is such a great comedian. Like
But
for him to have
he's even more successful now than ever.
okay, but still, like then
But see, that doesn't actually affect the law of free speech. That was a cultural thing that happened within a particular industry. And part of free speech is an industry has the right to say, we don't want you anymore.
okay.
The free speech as an amendment to the Constitution, as a constitutional right, never changed. And I think it's important that our right to say, we don't like that and we don't really want you around us from the private sector, that's totally okay. That's part of free speech.
Okay.
They can also deny people. I mean, I don't necessarily... Louis C.K. is fine,
Yeah.
and it is sad when people pile on someone or whatever. I mean, maybe it was justified or not, but it didn't happen from a government standpoint.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they're just acting like there was a problem of the right of free speech, but there wasn't. It was just being used in a way they didn't like.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like legally, nothing ever changed to our rights to free speech. So to say that we're bringing it back from what? It never went away. We've always had that right.
I think it's just fighting the cancel culture. Because how
Yeah,
much
so
do you
that's
think?
different, right?
How much do you think the cancel culture affected the Democrats? Because I feel
I
like
think a
that
lot,
played a
probably.
role.
I think a lot. I think they're a little out of touch.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, this is the first time in human history where like 19, 20, 21-year-olds had publishing access to published thoughts. It's never happened before. It used to be if like you had a thought, you could bring it to a media house and an editor, and then that editor could go through and say, okay, we'll decide if we'll publish. But now with Twitter, people who have brains who are not fully formed can publish to the world. And then the news networks go, people are saying on Twitter, it's like, no, 17-year-olds are saying that on Twitter. It's not our intellectuals, but somehow they managed to influence the party. And I think that was probably a bad idea.
Yeah.
I think that hurt them in the long run.
Okay. And then another thing he talked about is from now henceforth, America recognizes two genders. So
America does.
yeah.